Hello guys, it's me, Toby from Warhorse Studios. You might know me from Kingdom Come Deliverance, but today we're not talking about the video game, we are talking about the upcoming board game from Boardcubator, Kingdom Come Deliverance, the board game. And Jan and Martin, the wonderful people who invited me today in this, well, Boardcubator dungeon here, they will show me how this game plays. And guys, it looks really amazing and really looking forward to that, but I don't know how this plays. So guys, thank you for having me. And now, what's the meat and bread and butter of this game? How does this play?
Okay, thank you very much for being here with us in our holy, sacred, cellar, which is our usual place where we live. Yeah? Okay, so this game is a campaign story-driven game. It's for 1 to 4 players. It's a fully cooperative, and you could expect you will experience rich and deep and branching narration. You will encounter naturally behaving, world elements like NPCs or enemies. You can count on a deep and detailed character building, and prepare yourself for a really social immersive experience due to the adaptive sound design and the audio and all.
So you guys were mentioning co-op. Now everyone knows Kingdom Come Deliverance is all about Henry, a single player game. You're playing only that one character. But how does co-op then work in a board game, or how do you translate the single player game into a cooperative board game? How does that work?
Yeah, so each player will be playing one of the 4 different characters. Each one of them is purely unique. They have different starting points, different story, different introduction to the story. And each one of them has a set of starting attribute dice, a set of starting items, and some special ability that makes them a bit more unique. Here we have made Jarmila. She's a bit more focused on herbalism, and she will make great use of some herbs that you will find on your way.
So alchemy and these kind of things you can then use in the game. Very interesting. So are you saying that the 4 different characters, they are completely different, right?
Yeah,
so one of them is Jarmila then, the other one is then, I guess, more strength or?
Yeah, of course. Other than that, we have the Commander Zahora, who is a big fighter. And then we have someone who is not well versed in fighting, Jen, the Inquisitor.
So I can also see different colors here on the table, right? So we have red, green, blue, yellow. I guess those are different, those attributes, or yeah?
Yeah, this corresponds to the basic attributes, the same that you can see in the video game. Here we have the strength, agility, perception, and speech.
Now, clever as I am, I see the different tokens on the table, and they have those colors, right? We have the green one, the blue one, red ones. So, looking at the table right now, I see there's a situation going on here. Someone is being threatened, I guess. How would a regular turn look like? Who of them? I guess this is Jarmila, right?
Yeah,
this is the character we were talking about. So she's now hiding in a shack or something, or a fallen house, I guess. And I see colorful tokens. How would a regular turn now look like? So it's a turn-based game, right? How?
It's a turn-based game, and the players, can play in any order. It's just like interchanging, and you have any player has 3 action points to spend during the round, and you're just spending the points for like moving and interacting with some of the colorful color discs, and basically once you're interacting with like blue, the perception-based interaction, you shall expect something that emphasize your abilities in perception. So that's like a direction to determine if you're good enough to do something, or you rather shall take another way.
Or if you ask your friend to help you, I guess, right? So if there's, I suppose that the red ones are something connected with fighting, maybe? Or?
Yeah, these are all the strength-based interactions. So it can be something physical, fighting, or lifting up, or, as you said, combat.
So in this situation now, okay, we are now in this shack here, and there's this blue thing which you said perception. We said earlier Jarmila should be good in that, right?
Yeah.
So we are with the right character in the right room. How would I now interact with those tokens or with those? There's also a blue exclamation mark with crates, I guess. I can sense loot there. But
Yeah, let's say, okay, if I may, let's say you're with your Jan the Inquisitor, which is who is not good at fighting.
is he good in perception though?
Yeah,
Then let's go for the crates.
He's very persuasive and very, intuitive. So a perfect Inquisitor. So he's good at perception-based activities, but he's not good at fighting. And on this tile, there's a real threat of being encountered by two fighters, two enemies. So. If you're bold enough and would like to push your luck, you can still interact with this interaction, and it works like that. You spend your action point and click in the app the corresponding counterpart of the interactor disk, and it says examine the crates. So you would have experienced what's beyond. Examine the crate.
Really interesting, and I can see on the app, so the app tells me that on this tile are two enemies, right?
Yeah.
And they look very angry. I guess that's a level there, level 3 or something, or what do we have there?
Yeah, these are the number of different interactions that you can do with the NPCs,
interesting.
the same as on the map. All of the numbers say you how many things that you can do.
And the app is tracking your decisions, you put them in the app and they give you some kind of outcome. So I have a question though. So you said that Jan here is not very good in fighting, but obviously he's being threatened right now. Can he still fight with those enemies? Can he flee, or should he wait for help, or how would that work?
Actually, all of the options you mentioned are pretty valid, and from time to time you experience any of these. But the wise decision for such a player who's like more stealthy and perception based is to sneak your way out, or wait for an assistance of your comrade and try to do some backsteps, or sneak through.
So you said in the cooperative that everyone has a certain amount of action points, like 3 you said, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean that if I'm threatened now here as Jan in this situation, that I can say, guys, please spend your action points to come and save me before I do something?
They can come to on the same tile and help you in the skill checks, or they can try to take the focus of the guards on themselves.
So that it's really turn-based, but we decide on the table who uses. That's really cool. So you could save me from that situation, right? That is really interesting. How can I imagine the character creation? So you said it's 1 to 4 players, right?
Yeah.
But what happens if I want to play alone or only with 2 people? Everyone chooses a character in the beginning. Does that have an influence on the game or the flow of the game, or how does that work?
Yeah, you start with your noob character. There's nothing like you are already a warrior, or you're just like Henry from the original digital game.
Common folk.
Yeah, common folks. You're on task, on a mission. You're a, let's say, spy from a Catholic bishop or archbishop to make some secret tasks for him. And throughout the journey, as you focus on certain activities, like if you are fighting a lot, you're constantly receiving perk points or some micro level ups in combat. So you are getting yourself to better perks, to more dice related to strength, and slowly but surely you're getting a better fighter.
Wow, that is super interesting. So you're actually leveling up like a real RPG. You have the noob character, as you said. And is it really like in the video game, the more you use something, the better you get? So can you focus on combat only, or alchemy only, or speech only, these kind of things?
It's exactly like in the video game. The things you do, the things, these are the things you're getting better at.
Oh, that is super interesting. So I can imagine that in cooperative this will be then interesting. One can focus more on combat, the other one will be... Can you then also like really cooperate and work together on a task or a quest or something? Or is everyone doing his own kind of mission, or how does that work?
Well, it depends on strategy or tactics your group is gonna to adopt. But generally speaking, both of approaches are quite relevant. You may, focus on being a stealthy backstabber or a rogue or whatever, and while the other guy is a battle tank and the other is a herbalist. Or you may just try to, be good at more of the, the activities. There's not a strict way how to win, the adventure. You can take, a more peaceful way to fulfill your tasks, as well as you can, go into arms and just slash anybody if you're able.
That is really, really cool. That means that's a real role-playing experience. You can really find your way doing go a certain way, and then find out maybe it's not helpful, or maybe you need a friend who can do kick in the door, which you can't. That is really, really cool. You mentioned earlier the perk points and the perks in general. So I can remember in KC there's a lot of perks throughout the game. Of course, you get better and you acquire new of them. They will then help you on the journey. How does that work on the board game? You acquire perks how? Or how do they help you?
So right next to you, we can see that these are the tokens that we use for the perk points. And as Jan mentioned, you are what you do. So if you are combating with a lot of the local guards, you will gain a lot of the strength perk points, which you will be able to use to either improve your physical perks or your more warfare-based perks, or maybe some combos. We have a multitude of different number of perks, and each perk is unique. So you also need to cooperate with your friends who will choose what perk, because if you choose maybe some, Jan will not be able to choose it.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, is it first come, first serve, or is it? Okay, so now I have to ask a video game question here, because what often happen, or what can happen in many RPGs, is that you level the wrong way, that you choose perks that seem cool, but then you are too balanced out and you're not good in anything. You're good in some parts, but you don't focus on one specific thing and might get into trouble. Is that something that can happen as well, that you kind of mislevel your character and misguide yourself through the game?
Yeah, I get the point. I think, contrary to the digital version, there's a good certainty that the group, so overall organism, the playing group, will level up. At least some of the members will level up the right way. Once you might have been the one that boosted your combat perks, and there's no more combat in the next adventure, so you will still do actions that will bring you new perk points, and you will be kind of forced by the environment to develop your character in a different way. And then in another adventure, it may shift, and there might be a combat, and you're back on your foot, and you're now a super, useful member.
That's cool. That means you cannot actually get stuck somehow, that you cannot go any further because you don't have that perk point or that specific. That is very, very good and very useful, I'm sure. So you mentioned combat. That is, of course, in KCD an integral part of the game. You guys also said you can play peacefully, which of course in the game is also possible, but let's face it, guys, everyone wants to fight in the game, right? Combat, that's what we need and what we want. So how does combat translate in this board game? Do we have directions? Do we have combos? Do we have weak points or so? And how does it work?
We have stamina right into combat, just like in the video game. We don't have directional attacks because we don't have the almighty computer to compute all the physics and so. Besides that, we work with stamina that players have already mentioned it. I'm quite sure. So as you're losing or depleting, depleting your stamina throughout the combat, your efficiency, you're less dangerous. Your efficiency falls down, and that also, on the other hand, that also stands for the NPCs, the guard, as more players decide to attack a single target. So let's just say, we are going after this one. The particular enemy is going, weaker and weaker, but There's a point we call play refresh, when you need to, refresh your stamina as a player to become again fully able to deal a great amount of damage. And at that point, not only players refresh, but also the inhabitants of the world. So you can expect that the guard already refreshed and bulked up and is going after you.
I myself like a good refreshment as well. So I understand correctly that the cubes we have in front of us here, so the red ones, if I understand correctly, those are your health, right?
Yeah.
Or injury, is that correct? So we have the soldier here with the 2 cubes, so he's injured twice.
He's seriously injured. If he would get another one...
He looks serious, with that gun in his hand, he looks seriously injured. And the yellow ones are stamina. How does the stamina then work? Is that, in KCD, it's a buffer. When someone attacks you, you first deplete your stamina. Is that something you also took into account, or how does the stamina work in the board game?
Yeah, there are multiple ways on how stamina work. As you said, it is a buffer when you are receiving any damage, but it is a sort of payment for other things too. When you want to reroll your dice during any skill check, you will use your stamina, and maybe you need to activate some other special things by paying your stamina and...
Like running.
Yeah, if you want to run, it costs some energy.
And I also see, so we were talking about the perks, and now that we are talking about being injured, this looks a bit like the bleeding icon we have in the game. So is that something we can expect as well?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's bleeding actually, it's not an injury.
So in the game, this means that you are in deep trouble and that you quickly need to heal yourself or find some kind of remedy, otherwise you die. How do you do that in the game? Is that also something where the player is in deep trouble, or...?
Actually, we'll limit much more stamina with this one, because it might be not that easy to find a remedy in time. So, but missing
every KCD player knows that.
Yeah.
There are a couple of statuses that you can get. On the other side, we have the iconic dirty token. If you become too dirty.
Dirty Henry, coming for you.
Yeah, and you will need to find some way to get rid of the dirt.
And I see many cards here in front of us, so I can already see that here we have some of the perks, right? So
yeah, these are the perk cards.
And yeah, those are all combat skills, right? Oh,
yeah.
Head cracker, that's my favorite one. That one is that you get a one-hit punch on the head, and sometimes you can like one-hit the enemies. Is that also, can you also one-hit? Performing this combo will knock down the opponent. Oh, that sounds very useful. Bore. Tight grip. Oh, really cool.
Yeah, these are all the strength-based perks, and they are divided into three different categories.
Like strength, right? And what else? We have green, blue, and yellow.
Yeah, everything is connected to the base attribute dice, as I mentioned before. The green ones are agility-based. There are some dexterous points. There's a thievery, and the blue one is the perception-based. There's a stealth, intuition, and alchemy. And in the yellow one, it is the speech, so it is charisma, persuasion, or some scholarship reading. Maybe you are well educated, and it will help you in other situations too.
This plays in, that's connected with what we said in the beginning, right? With the different characters. What is she for a character, the maiden? She's more like a speech or thievery?
Yeah, so maiden will start with agility and perception. Level of 1, and she's well versed in herbalism. She has a...
Right, you said that, exactly. So, that's very interesting. And the other cards, I see items there, so there's some kind of item management as well. We have here
of
weapons.
course.
What do we have here? Weapons and shields, and I see a potion there, keys,
Weapons,
some flowers.
Armor. Yeah, there's a lot of items you can find. Like here we say Warhammer, so
one of the best weapons for sure.
Yeah. Actually, this Warhammer just allows you to enhance your pool of dice during combat. So you transfer your strength dice, if you have them, to blunt dice that are much more effective, and especially against plate armored opponents.
So you can effectively customize your like with your item management, you can customize your character again, prepare for the right. That's like the video game, right? If you know that you're fighting against bandits with blunt weapons or whatever, you prepare for that situation. And I guess I sense that something different something similar is happening here as well. That's very interesting. So you said the different dice, of course. So tell me, how is the combat working at all, or the skill checks? That is something in the game, right? So I'm fighting with someone. How does that work? You said different dice, blunt weapons?
Okay, yeah. During the game, you will encounter something we call skill check, or it's just, you know, a difficulty that you need to pass using your abilities or your dice. And we, at the same time, we try to keep focus on the game is mainly narration-based, atmospheric game. It's not like a tactical combat that much, but once you you know, find yourself, let's say, in a combat, you just see, you click it in the app, and the app will take care of all the computations and the stats of the enemy, and just outputs a number. You need to, you know, you need to pass, and once you do it, you're winning the combat or going towards the victory in the combat, and vice versa. If you are not reaching the difficulty level, you're probably getting injured, or your equipment might get you know, damaged, or you might get dirty.
Okay. That is so. And I understand that with the right perks and with the right items, you can kind of work in your favor, right? If you have a weapon, this should make you stronger in combat and so on. So, but how do I get those items? So do I find them randomly, or can I buy them, or can I exchange them in cooperative with my friends, or how does that work?
Yeah. Actually, you can freely exchange with your mates. If somebody, you know, found a Warhammer and they are not a fighter, so and you are, so feel free to exchange it.
Can everyone use every weapon, or do you need like a strength 2 or whatever to use it?
Yeah, a good question. Get back to the Warhammer card, and it's actually anybody can equip the weapon. Just you're as long as you're not having 2 strength dice, you're not receiving any, you know, any bonus from it. So yeah, feel free to carry over, you know, a heavy Warhammer, but if you're not strong enough.
Interesting. So the card gives you some kind of like what you need in order to use its advantages, right? And if you don't have it, then it's just a beauty item in your inventory, which is not useful. That is very interesting. Well, guys, I think that is really, really amazing, really interesting, and I really can't wait to play the final version of the game. If you guys are interested in more information about Kingdom Come Deliverance, the board game, don't hesitate. Go to Gamefound, push the follow button, and make sure not to miss any of the updates and any of the information the guys from Boardcubator are sharing with you. Thank you very much for having me today. This was really amazing. Looking forward to that, and see you next time for the next update. Take care, guys.